Hello, everybody. So I'm happy to be there today to do things. I have two things to do. First, to moderate the session, and also to present some insights from the ITF OECD report. So I have to moderate myself.
And present the rapporteur. And the rapporteur, which is Peter Urban.
Yes, yes, you're right. And also the rapporteur, yes. So we will have three presentations. One from Aline, dealing with the rider scan outcomes, and from Sigrid Brockman, who we present a study on a single vehicle accident in Germany of motorcycles. So, and then we will have what is the most important part of the session, discussion between us. So maybe I will begin with some insights from the OECD report. ITF means International Transportation Forum, as it is written on the top of the slide. So dealing with knowledge, I would say that the first general message of the ITF report is that knowledge has to be improved at least at two levels. The first level deals with the study of PTW mobility, the second dealing with crash mechanisms. So the knowledge has to be first improved on the mobility and behavior of PTW road user, notably with the purpose to, I would say, better qualify and quantify their exposure to road risks. And secondly, we do need to conduct more and more scientific, in-depth investigation in order to better understand the different patterns and the different causes of fatal and serious injury accidents. And I think we need, on this point, to fight against ignorance and to fight against preconceived ideas. And the third point is with the famous perception problems, including conspicuity, which also deserve further research works in order to identify the different kinds of key contributing factors. The second general message of the ITF report is that the operational research and development is needed to put forward the right measures regarding the safety of PTW riders. And the claim is that we need for that a concerted cooperation of a wide variety of disciplines in order to be efficient. And following the ITS report, progresses have to be made at least on three topics. First, on training, we need to develop the contents which prove to be effective, to be efficient from a safety point of view, both for the riders and also for car drivers who interact with them. R&D has also to progress on the capacity of ITS system to impact positively PTW riders. And the third topic, of course, covers the question of protective clothing and equipment. So here has, I would say, the main bullets that comes from the key messages of this report, who have been elaborated during nearly 4 years by 18 members, I would say 28 members of 18 countries. So that's it for my input. And now I would like to invite Aline to once again present the result of rider scan.
Thank you. So with this session, we are touching upon three deliverables of the rider scan project, the one on data collection and statistics, accident reporting, and research in general. I just thought it was relevant to remind the inputs from the Lillehammer workshop and the priorities that we came out with this 100 motorcycle safety experts on these areas. So what Lillehammer says is that the third priority identified by the Lillehammer experts were that indeed countermeasures need to be based on scientific research into driver and rider behavior, and before and after evaluations should be conducted. This is something which will come again in the course of the discussion later on in other sessions. And another priority in relation with this is priority number 16 on innovation. The expert was saying that where proposed countermeasures are not based on objective research but are supported by all stakeholders, policymakers should test and evaluate the proposal in pilot schemes. Now, what have we found in the course of the Rider Scan project? Well, the CARE database. We found out, I mean, it was obvious for a lot of people, but we digged into the CARE database, which was the common European reference. Today it contains 55 common road accident variables, but there was a lack of data uniformity in terms of data collection processes, in terms of definitions, in terms of formats which exist in the national database. The European Commission recommends member states to use what is called the CADAS protocol, Common Accident Data Set, for annual reporting with a minimum of set of standardized data elements, but obviously it's recommendation. There is a gradual adoption by member states, but it's not yet harmonized. And for what concerns motorcycle safety, we found out that there was some problem when we started comparing the data related to motorcycle safety. With regard to age categories, I mean, they vary greatly from one country to the other. With regards to the type of motorcycles, the CADAS protocol only collects brands and models and no details about the vehicle. With regards to responsibility, unlike some national database, the CADAS protocol does not include any information on who's at fault. And there is no mobility data which would be of relevance when we try to understand the safety elements of accidents, motorcycle accidents. So the interviews with the member states experts enable us to identify a set of recommendations with regards to this topic. First, obviously, everybody would like to be able to compare data at EU level. This is something which has been confirmed. About vehicle fleet, member states would also like to be able to compare enforcement elements, also safety information with regard to accident rate, kill by age, accident with personal injury, safety equipment wearing, etc. And mobility is also something which has been identified as relevant by member states. They also would like further in-depth studies, so we're glad to hear that there are some funding available for the next one. Some member states actually identify the IRTAD database as a useful database to be used at European level. This is something I'd like your views on this. Because this is not, of course, not all member states. It's a compilation of the inputs we collected from the interviews. Some member states also would like to exchange non-statistical information on infrastructure, roadside barriers, final position of the vehicle after an accident, etc. And then hospital data was also identified as relevant information to share between European countries. While the motorcycling community agrees with a lot of this information, they want more in-depth data, but they would also like to have experts allowed on the location of the accident, on the spot, in order to have a better understanding of the circumstances of the accident. They also would like improvement in the collection of data with regards to fleet and mileage. That's common. And they would like to have more consistent standards on data collection throughout Europe. The motorcycle community, when I say motorcycle community, is industry users broadly, so ASM, FIM, FEMA. Recommends to make use of the motorcycle community expertise to have a better understanding of the accident causation factors, the explanations of the whys behind what we can notice on the spot. There was also recommendation made with regards to make a distinction between those having a license and those not having a license. And finally, there was recommendation on harmonizing the test on alcohol and drugs at European level in order to be able to compare the information. So that was for data. collection and statistics. Now, obviously, a lot of this data comes from accident reports. So we did investigate the issue of accident reporting and the forms used to collect the information. And this was made by, this is an ongoing process. Out of 23 national accident report forms that we collected, there was a selection of 9 representative ones in Europe, and which is now currently being digged into the details with 4 national forms per country. And the main issues identified currently, because as I said, the work is in progress, is that, again, as identified, there are issues with the definitions, with the format and the collection processes of the data, which heavily impacts the comparison in Europe. The reports are usually divided in 5 overall topics: procedure data, vehicle data, accident data, and then interviews of the stakeholders involved, and drawings. These are the 5 parts of the report. And if you dig into these 5 parts, there are huge differences between the countries. So it would be relevant to harmonize this. And again, the information on the vehicle type, power two-wheeler type, is often missing. And when it is included in the accident report, it's not harmonized. Accident geolocalization is also missing, not harmonized. And the damage related to the vehicle is not harmonized either. And so there is room to improve the data collection for power two-wheeler accidents. This actually reminds me some of the discussion, some of the interviews and the feedback received from member states. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Laura, you will confirm this to me, but none of the countries had in their accident report forms a specific section for power two-wheelers. And when we ask member states about the usefulness of having some dedicated section for power two-wheelers information, well, the answer was often very positive. So, this is another question I would like to ask you, is whether you see this as a good way forward in terms of data collection for accident report forms. In terms of research, this was also something we investigate, and we are including bits of research inputs in every session today. For what concern the knowledge, the recommendation and the inputs we received from members, from all those we interviewed, is that there is a need for research on exposure data, a need for research in everything that relates to crash simulation, crash dummies, accident prediction models, in order to have a better understanding and simulation of what's going to happen, and then in-depth investigation on PTW accidentology. So this is in line with what the OECD ITF identified. So I've highlighted a few of the questions I had in mind, among which I would like to know from you which are the recommendations the most urgent to put in place. We can go back to the slide. From the member states' perspective or from a motorcycle community perspective. Can we harmonize PTW accident report forms? Is this a solution? What about this idea of having a dedicated section? Would a specific PTW accident report form be something to recommend, a specific section or a specific form? And what, according to you, are the power two-wheeler safety research priority needs? So these were the questions that came to my mind. Obviously, we may have others, so I leave the floor to the moderator to organize the debate.